All right, going live in three, two, one. This is No Limits with Amanda. We're up to episode number 15, and we have Amanda on this evening. How are you doing, Amanda?
I'm doing really well, thank you. How are you, Zoom?
I'm okay. I'm okay. Were you hit by the? I know usually my usual usually when we start the talks, our talks always talk about the weather. Did you get hit by that ice storm that we talked about last week? Was that something that was going to hit you?
Yeah, so we did get a little bit of it, but really we lucked out. It wasn't bad at all. I almost slid down the stairs going out, but other than that, we're
Oh,
good.
that's good. I think all we
Mhm.
got here was just a bunch of rain, so it wasn't really anything. So, but they weren't forecasting anything spectacular. I do know that the amount of rain we got, if it had been snow, yeah, I would have been probably we probably got maybe at least a foot or so. So it would have been I would have been digging myself out all over again. So
Wow. Well, happy to hear that it was just rain. We had like freezing rain for maybe an hour and then it just changed over to regular rain, so we were good. There was a little more traffic on the road than there would have been if it wasn't raining, but other than that, we lucked out over here.
hmm. Now, did we talk about the falling iguanas? Did I mention that to you?
No, this that's interesting.
Florida about a week I forgot to mention this when it happened. It was one of the storms that occurred about 2 weeks ago, I guess, maybe. It got so cold in Florida that iguanas were falling from the trees. I don't know if you heard about that. So,
No, wow. I have a very good friend of mine. My husband and I have like a couple that we're very good friends with, and they're moving to Florida, and she's freaked out about all the different reptiles that are there. So I'm not going to tell her about that because she hasn't mentioned it to me. But we were having dinner with them last night, and she showed me a picture that she must have gotten from a social media page of a mini alligator at somebody's front door.
oh goodness.
Yeah, like standing up on the door, like you could see the belly because it was standing at the front door, and there was a cat inside the house just staring at the alligator.
Well, the baby alligators, I don't know how bad they would be, but yeah, obviously a cat would be something that would be a good, not would not make good company, obviously. But the as far as the adult alligators, that would be a major concern for me. So, um,
I'm sure that even with the baby alligator, I'm thinking the cat might be a nice little snack for him. I don't know.
yeah, the I don't know if you've seen how alligators kill their prey. Have you ever seen how they kill them? It's pretty brutal. They grab on and do this spiral thing with their body where they look like a log rolling in the water, and they can break every single bone in whatever they've caught in their teeth as they're spinning around.
Whoa, that sounds crazy. I feel like I have seen that. Like they don't put them like in their mouth, do they? It's like they're just holding it by the mouth, or do they actually put it into like
They
their
clamp, they clamp down really hard, like if it's like a deer or something, they'll clamp down really hard and grab as hard, and their bite is super hard, so you can't get out of it. And then they just start rotating their body, spinning like a log. So, and then whatever's in their mouth just gets basically broken up really badly and die. Really probably one of the most horrific deaths you could probably think of. So,
Wow, I'm glad that my friend is not listening to us right now talking about this. She's she's really freaked out about that aspect of moving to Florida, so I'm not gonna tell her that, but
we got a couple of friends on tonight. Des and Play 3.0 saying hello, and we got OD saying hi, Simon and Rachel. Nope, sorry, this is Amanda. Sorry, OD. This Rachel was on last night, so you have to correct yourself there. But so
all good.
the falling iguanas were basically oh, he's back. He says hi, Simon and Amanda. There you go. So the the it was basically the temperature dropped so much that they just basically couldn't move, and so they were just falling from the trees. And apparently it only lasted for like less than a day, because then when the sun came up, it got warm enough so they could move around again. They were so cold they just could not move at all. So, and
Oh, I feel bad for them.
I
That's
I I
horrible.
I was told that you don't need to worry about it because the iguanas are designed to handle it if it's not too far of a fall. And they didn't look like the ones I saw didn't fall too far, so not their bodies can handle the drop. So, but yeah, you're right. I was concerned too. I don't want to
No,
say
we should. I'm like imagining right now little iguanas with little puffy jackets on to keep them warm. Such an image, right?
So, well, before we go too far, I just want to remind everybody, if you'd like to support what we're doing, we have an affiliate link for NordVPN in the description below. So I've gone through this before, I've used it in the past, and it's a very good service. And if you're looking to protect your identity, hide your location, or if you like to, several people have stated that if you'd like to watch streaming service, or excuse me, I had to clear my throat. If you want to watch streaming services from different parts of the world, you can where it's blocked. You should be able to do that without any problems. If you decide to buy the service, I looked at it. It's definitely it's more than half off, and a better rate than you would get if you bought it directly from them. So it's a nice deal. And if you buy the service, that will help support what we're doing, and we really appreciate that. So. And we got OD coming back, said, "Hey Amanda, please forgive me. This will not repeat."
You are forgiven. Don't worry about it.
So let's take a look at our question from last week. Got a semi-decent response. It was if you had we're bringing it up here. If you had a show or podcast, a host say something that offends the audience, should they or the show be canceled? And wow, 71% overwhelmingly with yes. That's pretty high. 1,200 votes, by the way. 15% was
Wow.
no. 8% said they should have to publicly apologize, and 7% I don't offend that easily. Interesting. So
Mhm.
pretty high up. Was that where it was last week too? I think it was. I'm not sure. I don't remember.
Yeah, I think it was as well. I can't I'm really surprised that so many people said yes. I gotta make sure that I don't say anything offensive on here, Zoom, or else you're gonna have to cancel me.
I'm wondering where these people, maybe they were just too young, or maybe they weren't around, but where they were the shock jock era of the 1990s, where you had different radio show hosts saying things that were quite outlandish. They were purposely trying to push the envelope just to get ratings. I wonder what people where they were back then. I mean, were these? I can't imagine it'd be the same people. I mean, the stuff they say back then would really get really some people upset. I can't imagine. You know, I don't know if you remember those. If you ever listened to them, did you ever listen to any of that show? That kind of programming?
No, I mean, I couldn't recall Howard Stern. I mean, he kind of pushed the envelope quite a lot. I mean, I read his book too, so
Uh huh.
I wonder if these people would cancel him.
Oh, for sure. And in fact, you bring up Howard Stern. He's actually, I used to listen to him back then, and he's changed so much that he's now the exact opposite. He's always apologizing for the things he said now, which is like just makes you feel. It's just like, really, do you have to do that? You're always trying to be this edgy person. Now you're like doing the exact opposite, just trying to, and it's just disgusting. So he's afraid to get the cancel thing too, for sure.
Yeah, it's the way of the world right now, I guess.
Mhm. Some of the stuff on there, if there's a woman her name was Marge Schott. Do you know who Marge Schott was?
No.
She used to own the Cincinnati, what's the name of the baseball team? I can't remember the team. But anyway, she was very outright racist. She would say racist comments. I think she's passed on. And so they would have on the Howard Stern show, they would have Billy West come on, who was one of his regulars on his show, and he would do her voice, but it wasn't really her voice. He was just pretending to be her, and he would use several racial slurs intentionally over and over and over, and it was funny, extremely funny. But I could imagine people just getting all bent out of shape and just like, oh yeah, they would cancel him immediately. I can't say those racial slurs right here. I personally, I think racial humor can be funny as long as you're laughing not because you agree with it, because you realize how stupid it is. Like the movie Blazing Saddles did that. Have you ever seen that? They were poking fun at racism. So racial humor can be fun as long as you're poking fun at it, and that's what they were doing. And it was just really really funny stuff. So
I'm sorry. I feel like I'm not getting it because I don't know what you're talking about, so I'm so sorry.
oh okay. Have you ever seen Blazing Saddles? Have you ever seen that movie?
No, I don't think I ever have, and I think it's one of my brother's, like, favorite movies too, and I've never seen it.
Oh, okay. There's a lot of racial words in there. Very much racist, very racial comedy in there, and it's done with the intent that you're laughing at it, not you're not laughing with it. You're laughing at it because you're poking fun at it. But it's imagine just people using a lot of racist words over and over and over, not every single time, but you're actually sitting there laughing at it because it's just so fun to watch because you know how stupid it is. So that's what Stern would do with Marge Shot. If anyone's watching, if you ever just type in Marge Shot, Billy West, Howard Stern on you can find them on YouTube. I'm surprised they haven't been pulled down. So
But that was a perfect explanation, so now I kind of get it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Your brother, if you said your brother liked it, ask him, he'll tell you the same thing. So let's see. It says OD says, "Hello, who chooses today's movie? You nailed it because it's my favorite of the Leatherface saga and my favorite of the icons of horror." Cool. What do we do? I guess we both chose. I don't remember who chose it. Did you choose it?
No, I think it was you.
Oh,
You
okay.
did. Because you had said that I never saw it, and it came up in the conversation last week, I think.
Yeah.
So it was your idea.
Okay, cool. So yeah, and well, I think you'll like the discussion, OD. So let's see. Oh, we're gonna go through our responses here. Let me bring that up. Hold on a second. Oh my goodness, that first one is pretty long. We can start over here. Oh, hold on, let me get my magnifier out. Let's see. Oh, Big Papa Jurish says, "No, get thick skin. Gets thicker skin." Yes. 71 votes. Yes. 70% votes. Yes. Jesus, what are we? But no, what are we? We are going to S that with that stupid cancel culture, censorship at its best. Awful. The Vanishing 87. I don't know about you guys, but it just seems kind of unfair to cancel an entire show just because a couple of people watching it get offended. And besides that, what if it's a great show? Otherwise, it would be a real shame to cancel. Yes, agree. Let's see. LOL, really? Let's see. WTF, yes. GTFO, y'all cancel culture is cancer. Cancel yourself. These comments are the exact opposite.
Yeah, which is very interesting. So where did these 71% of people say yes?
No. The people that voted yes offend me and should be canceled themselves. There you go. Let's see. GY says canceling people is one of the stupidest, cringiest trends of 2020s. Oh, some funny words hurt your feelings. How about just unfollow, or unblock the person and get on with your life? Yes. Let's see. Our Renegade MS says, honestly, I've detached from TV programs, series, so I personally don't care if the show is canceled due to controversy. So be it. I would understand. I would understand to an extent as opposed to what media folk are complaining about cancel culture. There you go. This next one, it's awfully long. I'm not going to read the whole thing. So, but I'm sure let's see. It looks like it's pretty good. I'm not gonna. I would recommend going in there and reading it yourselves. I don't want to. I don't like skipping over, but that's just way too long for us to read right now. So, let's see. Let's see. Christmas fan. I hear it all the time. Yet nothing happens. Inevitable. What does it say? Unevitable.
It says unevitable.
It's unevitable. Okay, gotcha. OD, I think it depends on the degree of the offense, but surely there are unforgivable cases which should result. I think we read this already. Result in cancelment. Okay, cool. Alrighty. So, anything else you'd like to add to that?
No, just that I was really shocked at how many people said yes, and then all the comments were making fun of them. So it's interesting.
Alrighty. Let's see. We were both of us were trying to come up with a question for this week, and I don't think either of us could think of something. I don't know what's going on. Anything? Maybe you were trying to come up with what was going on in call. I don't know. I can't think of anything. Hmm. Could say, what is your favorite topping on pizza? Maybe.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Okay.
That's a good debate.
Okay. Let's see. We're bring it up to here. What is your favorite? And by the way, I'm doing that because I just looked up. I had the TV on and there was a pizza commercial on, so I was cheating.
That's perfect timing. It was meant to be.
What's your favorite pizza topping? How would you say it? favorite topping for your pizza?
Yeah.
Just
Yeah. What's your favorite pizza topping?
pizza topping. Okay, thank you. Okay. What should we put on there? Pepperoni, I guess. Yeah, that's
Oh yeah.
was that Peroni? I got it.
Two
Yeah,
Pepperoni. I think it's two P's.
yeah, I got it. Okay, is that it?
Hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
Cheese, I guess. What else is there? Anchovies. Oh,
Oh,
well, I
oh.
don't know spell that one.
Do you
do,
want to do anchovies?
do you want what do you? Well, if you do, I'll do it.
No.
If you don't,
No,
if
I was thinking like vegetables. What about veggies?
veggies. Okay. Do you want to put it as veggies or do you want vegetables?
You could do veggies, I guess, right? Or what you're going for vegetables? Do vegetables.
Okay. Vegetable. Oops. Oh, yeah. Okay.
But some people like sausage, right?
Sausage. Yes. Huge. S-A. Hold on. S-A. Hold on. S-A. Hold on.
U-S-A-G-E.
Yeah, that's what I was doing wrong. There we go.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Okay. And I guess last one we can leave their choice, your choice. Leave a comment.
Yeah.
There we go. All right. What's your favorite pizza? Okay. Simple. That's
You
pretty good.
you didn't put your in the question.
Thank you. Okay. What is your cool? What is your favorite? Pepperoni, cheese, vegetable, sausage, your choice. Okay. So look good?
That's perfect.
Okay, cool. All right. We'll come back to that. All right. So right before we went live, Amanda and I listened to the intro for this movie for the Texas Chainsaw Massacre from 1974. And when I watched it, the version she and I had watched did not have that intro for some reason. I don't know why it was edited out, but which leads me to wonder if maybe the version we saw was maybe the original, maybe that intro was added on. I don't know if it was there all along. I don't know. So, but it did add a little bit to the movie. It's in case you're wondering, the at the beginning of the movie, there's a narration, a voice comes on and says that the events of what transpired in the movie, I forget how it was worded exactly, but it leads up to what's going to happen in the movie itself. And the interesting thing about it is that it's voiced by John Larroquette. So apparently this is one of his first roles in movies, which is kind of interesting. You know who John Larroquette is?
No, I was just gonna ask you.
John Larroquette, did you ever? He's been in a few different movies. He was in one of his most famous roles would be the TV show Night Court. Did you ever see Night Court?
Yes.
Yeah, he was
Love Night Court.
Yeah, he was the guy that was the tall defense attorney with the black dog. I'm sure if you've seen Night Court, you know him for sure.
Yeah, he's the really tall one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that was apparently that was one of his first roles. I believe so. Some people on the internet were saying that. I'm hoping they're right. Of course, I don't. You can trust anything on the internet, of course, but but anyway, the movie itself, I had seen it. This is my third time watching it. I just finished watching it just before we started this, and I saw it back in 1985, not when it was new, but then I saw it a few years ago, and then I saw it again this evening. So each time I saw it, I thought it was pretty good. I saw it when I saw it a few years ago. I was just watching it just for fun, and I was like, I remembered, wow, this is actually pretty good. So I'm not a big fan of horror movies, but in this case, it's actually pretty good. The one thing I wanted to say last week, and I said this to someone, a very nice person last night, that I was having a discussion with somebody that last week I told you that Candyman did not scare me, but that's only because no horror movie scares me at all. And it's only because I work in news and I see a lot of images and video of what transpires in the real world, unedited stuff that's pre-censor. Like if you watch a newscast, they'll censor stuff so you don't actually see what happens. I see the uncensored stuff, and I've seen it's pretty gruesome. So that's when you see the real stuff. When you watch a horror movie, you just don't get scared anymore because the real stuff is very, very scary. And I'm not going to describe what I've seen, but just to say it's what people do to each other in this world is very, very gruesome. It's unbelievable, not only to human beings but other life forms on this planet, animals, and it's unbelievable how people can treat other people and living things on this planet. So watching this movie or any other horror movie, I just don't get scared because I've seen so much, and some of the stuff just has been embedded in my head, and I will never forget it because it's just that's that bad. So
Wow. I'm floored
yes,
because I was just gonna say to you, like, it must be so much worse to see reality than it is to see something that's, dreamt up by the creators of movies.
yeah, yeah. There was
Yeah.
one image, a still image. I'm not going to describe it at all, but I just maybe just say it was a picture of a man. And what happened to him was so horrendous that I could barely sleep for like a week, and I just couldn't stop thinking about this guy, how sad I felt for him, what happened to him. It was like unbelievable.
Wow.
So I
I'm
mean, it
so
was
s I'm so sorry that like, you have that happens, first off, and then I'm so sorry that you have to witness that, like, to see the images. I can't imagine. Like
I,
you said, it left such an impression on you that you couldn't sleep for a week. I would probably be a wreck.
yeah, yeah, and
Mhm.
used to feel sorry for me. I feel sorry for that guy. I really do. I mean, it was just I was like he was alive, and what happened to him was like oh yeah. It's just like I said, I'm not going to describe it because just describing it, you'd be grossed out. So
Mhm.
but yeah, it's yeah. So when I watch these movies, I'm like, oh, I know it's not real, and I can sit back and go, okay, yeah, I can see that there's not really nothing's really happening. Like there's a scene in this movie where I'm jumping ahead a little bit, where they pick up the hitchhiker and he cuts the guy in the wheelchair. I forget the guy in the wheelchair's name, but he reaches over and cuts him with a blade, and I'm like, okay, that looks fake. So
Mhm.
and I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, didn't really cut him, so I'm not, it doesn't really look that scary. So, but it's still, I still like the movie though. I'm not, but that's the kind of stuff I just look at. Okay, every time I see something, okay, it's fake, and I can see that they're switching camera angles. So, like if someone's about to get cut up with a chainsaw, that camera angle is still it's such in such a way that you can't see obviously the person getting hurt or injured or anything like that. So it's they're not other things really happening. So but yeah, that's my mindset. It doesn't mean I'm not wasn't enjoying the movie. It's just I can see I'm looking right through it, so I'm not really affected. But I will say, there was two scenes in this movie. There's one point towards the end. What's the woman's name that survives at the end? Um,
Sally?
Sally. Yes. There's a point where they cut her finger so they can feed the blood to the old man at the dinner table. Do you remember that?
Yep.
That looked
Mhm.
real. That looked like a real cut. I don't know if it was or not, but it looked real. That looked like they really cut her. So,
Yeah, it did look real. Mhm.
I wonder if they actually did cut her on that one. And the second thing that was kind of scary, but not because it was supposed to be scary, but scary in the sense that I felt scared for the actor, was when the woman who was in the freezer after they put her body on the hook. Then she was actually in the freezer, but trying to pound her way out. Uh,
Mhm. Pam.
Yeah. With I was like, that woman, she was in a freezer. The actor was in the freezer, the actress was in the freezer, and to be in there pitch black, it would be that would make almost anybody claustrophobic, waiting for someone to open the lid up on that thing. I don't know. She was pretty brave for doing that. So
Yeah.
so I just from a realistic point of view, that just I couldn't imagine. She's have to put in and hope that they don't forget that she's in there. So, but I'm sure they wouldn't, but still, it's like that was pretty. She's pretty brave for doing that. I think for going in there and being an area that's pitch black, you probably can't see anything. Maybe I'm assuming it was pitch black. Maybe it wasn't. I don't know, but I assume it was probably pitch black in there, and having to wait to do her little scene there was pretty brave.
Mhm.
So so you had never seen this movie before. Let me go ahead and we can bring this up here. What would your impression be of this movie? Your initial impression.
Okay, so here's where I'm like struggling because I'm like, am I looking at this from a person in 2022 who's seeing lots of, different types of camera angles, different types of movies, different, I can't think of the word, like quality of movie, quality of film. So I'm trying to go back to what it must have been like in 1974 seeing this movie. So I feel like in 1974 seeing this movie would have been a much different experience than now. because there were points in the movie where I was laughing at it, like, like not to be judgmental because again, I'm looking at it from 2022. I'm looking at it from the standpoint of all these other incredible movies I've seen and the quality. So I think if you go back and look at it from the perspective of 1974, it would be a lot different than now,
Okay.
you
So
know. So I like it for it being in the past. Did I like it now? I don't know, and I feel like I shouldn't say that with you and OD here because both of you love
no,
this
no,
movie.
no, I don't love this movie. I just think it's a good movie. I don't love it by any.
Yeah.
I think it's a pretty good movie. So no, I want you to be honest. Yeah, definitely want you to be honest.
Yeah, I don't know. Definitely not one of my favorite horror movies.
Really? Okay, it's interesting.
Mhm.
So the one thing I will say, which is kind of interesting, is that looking at how this is because the movie was made in it was actually made in 1973 and released in 74. The movie, you actually get a chance to see what people look like in 1973 versus a movie that was made today. I might have said this before about other movies, but you'll watch movies made
Mhm.
today and they'll try to capture what it looks like back in the past and they just don't get it right. You can't. There's very few movies that do that, and obviously this was made in the time, so you get to see what it felt like, it looked like at the very least, the way they're dressed, the way everything looked. It feels authentic from that period, obviously. So it's really cool
Mhm.
to see something that looks authentic from that time versus
Mhm.
something where they just don't seem to get it right in modern times.
Mhm.
Have I ever talked about Dazed and Confused with you? The movie Dazed and Confused.
I don't know, you might have touched on it, but I don't recall if you did.
Okay, during the 1980s, I was always disappointed when they made movies about the 70s because the movies during the 70s always portrayed everyone. They always had like 80s hairstyles, and it was really annoying. It was like I was around in the 70s, like what part of what I remember anyway. I was very young, but and like every time these movies in the 80s would come out, and it was like they didn't have hairstyles like that. They didn't look like that. And finally, like the early 90s, a movie called Dazed and Confused came out, uh, and I'm not saying anything good about the movie, it's the story or anything like that. Just the aesthetic quality of the movie. They hit everything spot on. It looked like it was from the 1970s. And it was like, wow, they captured the feel of the 70s down to a T. It lived everything the way I remember it is like that's it. That was the 1970s. So
Oh, they had good researchers doing their jobs,
yeah,
right?
there are probably people like me that are just tired of watching 1980s movies that didn't get it right. so,
Mhm.
so
It's interesting you speaking about, like, the authenticity, obviously, it's authentic because it was filmed in 1973, but, what caught me was the fact that
mhm.
their clothes actually I feel like I could wear their outfits now,
Oh,
and it
really?
would
Okay.
it would it would be in style, like, I wouldn't people wouldn't look at me funny like I'm wearing clothes. She's wearing clothes from the 1970s 'cause my father used to say this all the time, like, things come back around, and I'm
Mhm.
like, "Dude, their outfits, the women's outfits, I would wear them, I actually like them."
Oh, it's cool. It's cool. I would say well, except for the guys driving there, I would not wear that shirt. But
Mhm.
but,
That's a little busy.
yeah, I think actually, you know what? Actually, I think I had a shirt like that when I was a kid. I don't remember how much often I wore it, though, but I do remember having a shirt that looked like that, with lots of flower designs on it. So, um, but the other ones, yeah, like he's wearing a denim shirt right there. I mean, I have a denim shirt that looks like that. So yeah,
Mhm.
so even the men's clothing, the hairstyles are definitely a little outdated for the men. I'm not sure about the women though, so much. What'd you say about the women?
I mean, it's just straight long hair Sally had, so my hair kinda looks like that sometimes when I blow dry it, so
Hmm. Oh, that's true.
I don't know, it's not that off.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. It did come around because I remember during the 80s, women did not have straight that's the 70s hairstyle. It was like if you had a 70s hairstyle during the 80s, it was like you're outdated. You were considered to be outdated. And you're right, it has come back around, so it's like it's not outdated. It wouldn't look outdated anymore. So
Mhm.
so and what I remember of the 80s was mullets everywhere. Mullets abound. So
Yeah, and the women had the big hair,
yes,
big
yes,
'80s hair.
exactly. So so we have our five main characters, I guess you'd say. The obviously Sally and the I should know the names of the characters. I don't remember the guy in the wheelchair again. But
Oh,
they're
Franklin.
frankly, yeah, they're brother and sister. And the other ones are all couples. The other two are couple. Well, basically that's her boyfriend, and the other two are couples as well. So our couple. But they don't. I don't think they don't really describe where they're going, do they? Um, I don't think
No,
they
were
really.
they going to the grandfather's grave?
Oh, they're going to visit the house. Is that what it was? Oh,
Oh
yeah,
yeah, the house. Yeah.
yeah, the house. For whatever reason, I don't remember. I like it said it wasn't really essential, I guess, for the plot. It just happened to be that the house they're going to was next to the house that they're going to be dealing with the the cannibals, I guess you would call them. I don't know what you call them exactly, but so the cannibal
Yeah,
family.
the Leatherface. I don't know.
So let's see. Odie says, just out of curiosity, have you ever traveled a car through these roads of Texas? I wonder what the sensation looks like. I have driven through Texas, and Texas was well, I drove on the interstates, so I didn't drive on the back on the any other roads like this. So I don't know. This looks like it almost looks like Virginia where they're driving. So it's but where I drove in Texas, it was pretty neat. So most of it was like flatlands. It was like this southern end of the plains, and then we got to the west end of Texas, was more like desert. So uh, as for me, as a non, oh, as a non-U.S. person, it's inevitable to remember this movie right away. And oh, did you ever drive across Texas? I should have asked you. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to skip over you.
Oh no, I didn't.
Okay,
You were fine to skip me.
I do remember though. Getting back to Texas, we went from my friend and I. We went from I think it was I-10, Interstate 10. We got on in Louisiana and we looked at mile marker 840 something. It was like, oh goodness. And we drove straight from one end of Texas to the other. I think we made one stop and that was it. We stopped and we got a little town. We went to a little shopping center and got some food at a local supermarket and that was it. And yeah, that 840 miles was the longest 840 miles I remember. It just took forever to get through that state. So
Wow, that's long.
the one thing I do remember was we got Texas Cola. And I've heard since this was 1991, probably 19, I think it was 91 or 92. And since then, since the internet has come around, I've tried to find Texas Cola. I can't find it anywhere. Apparently, it might have been something that was so small that it just doesn't appear on the internet. I was really surprised. Usually, you can find almost anything on the internet. I can't find any trace of this Texas Cola anywhere. So it was in a can, like aluminum cans, and it just said Texas Cola. It came in different flavors. So
Oh, was it like stronger flavored than our cola, or you said it came in different flavors? What were the flavors?
I don't remember. I would say like grape was one, maybe a regular cola was one. I don't remember all the different flavors, unfortunately.
Mm.
And the cans were like a standard aluminum cans, like 12-ounce cans. And I think I drank them all and I was going to save the cans. I lost them. So just as a souvenir, and I just lost them, unfortunately. So
All
yeah.
right, well, I'll keep my eye out for you. If I ever catch it, I will buy you a bunch and ship them to you.
Okay. Let's see. ODC. First time I saw the opening message, I was scared because in Portuguese version, it's narrated by such a creepy, ghostly voice. Ooh, interesting.
Mm.
Let's see. Hola. And Randy Saladin Santana says hola, hola back. So,
Mm.
so let's see. Now it's right. Now as the movie progresses, we get the hitchhiker, and the hitchhiker starts. He cuts himself and he takes a picture of Franklin, and then he explode. Then he takes the picture and he blows it up. Is that right?
Yep.
See, I'm trying. Yeah. No. Oh, I remember. The camera on here looks really authentic too. The instant camera. That's pretty funny. I don't remember those personally, so I think there's a little. That was definitely a little bit before my memory would remember those. But I think it's authentic. Um, but I do remember instant cameras back. You probably would remember these. Whenever you press the button, it would slip out through the front. You ever see those?
Yeah, Polaroids, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's what I remember.
Those I remember.
Yeah. So uh, oh yeah. So he got I kind of skipped it. We kind of touched on this already. He cuts himself. He cuts Franklin and he cuts himself. Or he cuts himself then Franklin. Excuse me. He blows up the picture during that time as well. And that's when they get him out. And he smears his blood all over the side of the van. Now these characters are pretty unbelievable in some ways. I mean, I encountered a homeless person one time, and when I was in DC, I parked my car and I was going to work. And all I can tell you is that as soon as I got on my car, there was lots of people around, but for some reason he focused on me. He starts screaming real loud. He said, "Come here, come here, come here." He starts screaming at the top of his lungs, "Come here!" And I just ignored him and just kept on going. But he kind of reminds me of this like this hitchhiker. It's like I have no idea what he wanted. I don't know if maybe he wasn't homeless. I shouldn't say that. He was whatever he was. He was standing on the street, and I had nothing to do with the guy. I just walked away as fast as I could. So,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why. And like I said, I don't know why he's singling me out. I just know to get away as fast as I could. So, um, let's see. So get to the gas station. Oh, one thing I wanted to say. Have you ever? I'm assuming you probably have not, but I'll ask anyway. Have you ever driven one of these vans before?
No.
They're interesting to drive. I've had a chance to drive one several years ago. They're interesting because you're so close to the front of the vehicle. It's so weird because they're on a normal vehicle, you have the hood, the engine compartment sticking out in front of the vehicle. And so you have this long front. This one doesn't have that. So it's like, whoa, it's like, where's the front of the car? It's like it's gone. So it's kind of funny.
Oh, wow. Yeah, look at that.
Yeah. So it's just one of those funny things. If you ever get a chance to drive one, I would recommend it just to experience that. So I'm also wondering, I would think that would be pretty dangerous if you're in a collision. You would probably be killed or seriously injured because there's nothing in there to stop the impact. You'd be at the front of the impact at that point. So
Yeah, you'd be squashed. I wouldn't even trust myself to drive that. Seriously, last night I had to parallel park my car and I don't know why for the life of me I couldn't see like behind me and I couldn't figure out how far I could go back. My husband had to go out and like basically direct me because
oh,
my car's I have an older Honda Civic so it doesn't have a backup camera. I feel like every car now has a backup camera. So I was like sticking my head out the window. I was like, I can't figure it out because this guy was pulled up in front of me and I was too far from the car. It was hysterical. It was like a comedy act. So like, I don't know if you would trust me in one of those.
the car I recently bought this past summer has a backup camera. I still just look out the back window, but no, yeah, all my other cars are so old they definitely don't have backup cameras. We're talking about cars from the 60s and 70s. So
Mhm,
yeah, I'm still used to looking out the back myself. So
mhm. I don't know. I do it too. Even when I drive my husband has a newer car. He has a newer Jeep
uh,
and he has a backup camera. And even when I drive his car, I go to look out the back window. It's like pre-programmed. I'm not used to having a camera.
yeah, yeah. So let's see. So as we're as we go along, yeah, I was surprised that they didn't call the police. For some reason, I thought they were going to call the police. I know I'd seen this twice before. For some reason, I thought they were going to call the police. I mean, you get cut like that, you would think you would call them, especially you have evidence, physical evidence to show that someone was there, and 5 witnesses. I was surprised they didn't just make an effort to call the police. So,
I
obviously,
was surprised they didn't kick him out of the car earlier. Like, why are you letting this guy who everybody's like freaking out about him and screaming and they just let him stay in the car for so long?
yeah, and even one person, was it the other woman?
Pam?
Yeah, Pam. Thank you. Yeah, even
Mhm.
she said she like when they were about to pick him up, she was like said something like it was like she didn't like the way he looked or something. So
Yeah, so why'd they pick him up to be like they kind of made it like they didn't want to pick him up and then the guy that was driving, I don't remember his name, but he stops and picks him up. I'm like, "What? It didn't
have
make
you ever
sense."
picked up a hitchhiker? Ever done that?
No.
Oh, okay. I
Have
have.
you?
Yes, I have. Yes.
Really?
Yeah. If it looks like the person's okay, I've done it. I maybe only a couple times, but not anytime recently. Um, I do know. I'll tell you my strange story. I was driving on the road and there was a ramp onto the interstate. And what happened was there were 2 lanes onto the ramp. And I was this one car, I guess at the last second realized they weren't supposed to be on the ramp and they tried to swerve to get off the ramp and they hit the side of my car. And what happened was the ramp was so in a weird position that I didn't see where they went. And so I pulled off to the side to see what I could, because I wanted to exchange information or whatever. And I couldn't find the car anywhere. And so I guess they either drove off or they just couldn't figure out how to get over to where I was. And I looked and what happened was, this is what's funny. A piece of their car had become attached to my bumper. It was a 75 car it was like, it had the old chrome bumpers, not like modern cars with the plastic. This had a big chrome bumper. A section of their car become attached to my car. I was able to pull it off of my car and there was absolutely no damage done to my car whatsoever. Just a piece of it was stuck to my car and I pulled it off. And I called the police eventually. But anyway, getting back to the hitchhiker part, there were two people that were standing there hitchhiking, and they ran over to me and they said, they thought I was pulling over so I could give them a ride. And it was a man and a woman. I said, okay, I'll give them a ride. So,
Oh, wow.
but
That's a story.
it's really strange. And I ended up giving those people a ride to like about maybe 10 miles. And I pulled off at a safe spot off of the interstate. I exited off the interstate, pulled off into a side area so they wouldn't get hit by a car, and then let them off. And we had a nice conversation. The funny part is I said, did you see the car that hit me? And they said, no, we thought you hit the barrier. And I said, no, look, here's the piece of their car. You can see it's stuck to my car. And they just said, no, they were like, no, we didn't say anything. So I was like, anyway, it was just a weird situation. And I called, like I said, I called the police later on, and they said, no, we never heard any calls or anything, so don't worry about it. I said, okay. So I
Wow.
never know what happened. So anyway.
Mhm.
But yeah, I might have picked up a hitchhiker once when I was younger too. I don't remember, but that hitchhiker story is always one I remember because the car hit me and all that. So, yeah, but I wouldn't mind pick up a hitchhiker if they look like they're okay, I guess. And if it was in a car that wasn't too nice, if it's a nice car, I would probably not. If it was an older car, like because I have older cars, I don't really, I'm not too concerned if they get messy or anything. And someone gets in the car, they're not gonna, if they damage something for any reason, like because they have some like sharp objects in their pockets or something, I'm not going to worry about it. But if it's a newer one of my nicer cars, no, I wouldn't let them in. So
Mhm.
my uncle does that. I don't know if he still does it, but he'd tell me stories where he'd pick up people and just hitchhikers and all that stuff. So
I didn't know there were still people that did that.
yeah, I don't know. I don't drive enough nowadays. I've driven on a regular basis in 10 years, so I don't know. But
Mhm.
like I said, if I saw someone they looked okay, I'd probably say yeah. If I was going a long distance, I might pull over and say let them in. So
You're
I
better
don't.
than me. You're better than me. I'd go flying past them. I wonder if that's like a man versus woman thing though, you know? Like,
I
is it
I would think a lot of men probably wouldn't do it either. I honestly do. So it's yeah, it also depends on the area if you're in. If you're in a bad neighborhood, I wouldn't do it either. So, but you
Mhm.
usually don't see hitchhikers in bad neighborhoods. Oh goodness, what was that?
Oh my goodness, you heard that?
Yeah.
I just went to get water. I didn't think anybody would hear that. I'm so sorry. I'm trying to be sneaky. I'm so thirsty.
That was loud too. I was wondering what that was.
Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. I hope I didn't rip your ears out. I should have
No,
hit
no,
mute first.
no, that's fine. That's fine. All right. So, okay. So they get to the hitchhiker, they drop the hitchhiker off. And I pointed out that when he cuts Franklin's arm, it looked fake immediately. But, and the other
Oh,
thing was that the way he cut it, if he had a blade that looked like that, he should have ripped his flesh wide open on your arm, especially your arm is very fleshy. He would have had a severe cut at that point, especially the way he was cutting into his arm, the way the angle it looked like. He would have had to go to the hospital for that if it was real. If he really cut that hard and that with that kind of a blade. So uh,
mhm.
that they just wrapped it up with a bandage. I was like, okay, come on, that's it's a horror movie. Why don't you, if you're going to be a horror movie, why don't you make it look more authentic? Why don't you show that this thing is? I mean, maybe they didn't have the makeup for it. I don't know, but in real life, he would have had to it would have been severe enough that he would have had to definitely get stitches and probably more. I don't know. So. Um, so yeah, and the hitchhiker, they let him out. Franklin's concerned that they're going to come after him. He's going to come after them. I mean, and what does he have in his mouth? I was so
A
weird.
ch Barbecue, 'cause they got the barbecue from the gas station, because the gas station guy had no gas, and he was
Okay,
like, "Come try my barbecue." It looks like somebody's finger, doesn't it?
yeah, looked like a body part of some kind. I was like, what is that?
It looks like a thumb.
so,
My goodness. Oh,
so
no, OD just asked what that sound was. OD, I'm so sorry, it was me. I went to get water out of my faucet, and I guess it picked up the sound in my headphones. I'm so sorry. I feel so bad. I ruined the whole show.
actually, it was funny. It wasn't really that loud. It was like we just couldn't figure out what it was.
All right, good. As long as I'm keeping it exciting.
So we come into the house. There wasn't very much. The house itself is obviously rotting, coming apart. The this house isn't really too creepy. They imply that this house is going to be creepy with the daddy long leg spiders at the beginning there, but aside from that, it's not really. There's not much in this house. Um, the this is this no, there's not very much here. Like this is when they work their way over to the other house, and I will say this: they have a generator. The generator. This looks like an average generator, especially from the 70s. The modern generators would have the fuel tank on top, so it would look more like squarish off. They're basically all the same. But the one thing I wanted to point out was if you have a generator, you can't run a generator for long periods of time. You have to periodically shut them down. You can't run them more than 100 hours at a time without changing the oil. So I mean, I don't know if they were implying that the house was fully run on a generator, or did they ever show what the generator is powering? It's not a big deal, but you can't run it. Like I said, you can't have it running for very long periods of time. So,
I don't know if I looked away at that point. I don't even remember seeing the generator. Maybe I just missed it.
oh, okay, that's what attracted them to the house actually, because they heard the sound of the generator and they looked over and saw the house.
Oh.
So, but anyway, it's not a big deal. It's a movie. Movies, things can do anything they want. So,
Hmm.
and and OD was like, haha, okay, Amanda. So, all right. Now this is where okay, I forget this guy's name altogether.
Let me see. I have it up. I have a little cheat sheet with their names. Let's
I'm trying to find.
Jerry? Was he Jerry or Kirk?
Hold on, I'm trying to find. Okay, here we go. I'm going to bring my list up too. Oh, hold on, I just lost it. Okay. Yeah, Jerry. Let's see. No, he is the character that is not Jerry. So he's Kirk. Yeah,
He,
Kirk.
yeah, he's Kirk. Cause that's right, Jerry. Cause Sally kept screaming, Jerry, Jerry. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, so Kirk is the first one to get it. Um, walks in. Now, how do you feel about this house when they see this? I thought this was kind of weird when the first time I saw this. Now I've grown used to because I've seen it twice now. But what was your reaction when you saw this like the sliding door and these skulls and everything?
I was like, why are they going in there? You never like horror movies, you never go in the house. Why are you going in the house? And then if you see something like that, I thought that when I saw the animal heads and all that interesting stuff, I was like, this is definitely a killer's house.
I,
What are you doing going in there?
and the sliding door was like really weird. So I was not excited. The funny part is you don't really need the sliding door because later on they show to the left there's actually a living room right over here. So I'm wondering how they're obscure. Is this supposed to be obscured at this point? Because they show that when you go in here and go over there, that's the kitchen over there. So I don't know. It's more for effect because they're not letting you see anything else so far. So uh,
Hmm.
the one thing I will say, I don't know if you looked at this, but I was noticing the staircase, the railings on the staircase, and other parts of the house look really clean and really in really nice condition. Almost like the house was probably in really good shape. Maybe they just only made parts of the house look like it was, an evil house. Did you notice that?
Actually, I didn't notice it. I thought the house was gross, and
Yeah.
now that you're showing the still, I see that the stair like the handle, right, the rail is like
Mhm.
in it's pristine, and so are the floors. Like
Yeah, exactly.
look at the hardwood floors.
Yeah, and there's some other. It's not, like you said, the house was really bad, but I mean, there were some sections where were pretty good. Almost like obviously they probably picked a nice house, and then they probably just made parts of it look like it was evil. It's the best way to put it.
Hmm.
So, but I was just something I thought I'd point out as a minor thing. So, I always thought the sliding door was very interesting and weird at the same time. So, why do you have a sliding door like that? So, so
Yeah.
he gets hit on the head. And the obviously earlier on when they were in their van, they were talking about how when they slaughter cattle, one of the methods they use is using a hammer. And obviously it was like a what do you call that? Foreshadowing? Is that what I'm not sure what the right way is that it? Um,
Yep, you got it.
so the
Mhm.
and that's what you're getting here with Kirk. So his body's shaking, and it was pretty interesting. So one person pointed out when I was watching some of the other videos on this that there is not really, you don't really see a lot of gore in this. I mean, you see him get hit, but you don't really see any gore on him. Did you notice that? It's like,
I
so,
did. Mm-hmm.
so, she comes in, she's looking for him. Now, this part, I will say this part did maybe cringe a little bit when she walks in and he puts her on the hook. So,
Yeah.
so that was kind of, they did that pretty well. I thought that was done pretty well. He picks her up and he places her on the hook there. That was like, oh, whoa. So, um, and yeah, I won't show that because it's gonna, I don't want to get people all freaked out here. Let's see. OD comes back and says, in my opinion, the main error they made was to split up. Yes. Yes.
Yes. And then she goes in after him.
Yeah.
Kirk, where are you? Kirk, like, come on.
And then they show him uh then they show him cutting him up with the chainsaw. Kirk, but he's dead already, being cut up and sliced. So the it was implied later on. Did you? Someone I don't know where I heard this, that the meal that they're eating at the end is the people that were, the two of them that were being killed at the beginning. Did you see that? Or
Oh
did
yeah,
you?
I saw them eating the meal, but I didn't even think about like what they were eating
Yeah.
or who they were eating.
Yeah. Did you ever see the Rocky Horror Picture Show
Yes.
when
Long
they
time ago.
Meatloaf, when the Meatloaf's character comes in? By the way, Meatloaf passed away recently too, in real life.
Yeah. So sad. There were a bunch of celebrities actually that passed away within like a few weeks of each other.
Yeah, yeah. In the Rocky Horror Picture Show, his character gets cut up and they feed him at the very end, halfway through the movie. So I don't know if you remember. I don't know if you remember that part of the movie. So that's what I was thinking. As soon as I saw that, I was thinking that scene comes up on the movie. That scene came up in my head, is what I mean. So
Mm-hmm.
let's see. OD says, but as always, if you are lost with a bunch of friends in a creepy house searching for a friend, it's obvious you will go into it. Yes. Yeah, I would not be. I would be honest. If I were walking into a house, I wouldn't even walk into a person's house at all. Period. So,
Yeah, me either.
but yeah, if I saw like if I saw stuff like the skulls and everything, at that point I would just be walking away too. Walking away very fast. So
Mm-hmm.
let's see. So this is kind of, there's nothing really here that I remember is really relevant. He goes off, and what does he? He gets bopped on the head too, right? Yeah, that's right. Yeah, this is that scene I was talking about where she's in the freezer, and I was like, she was very brave
Mm-hmm.
for being in there. Um, and yeah, he comes in. Yeah, he gets bopped on the head. Yeah, so he gets knocked out. So, uh, and there is something. Someone, I forgot what it was. Maybe OD can tell us. But Leatherface, he's a partial transvestite thing going on towards the end, like he's wearing a woman's wig or something, and I don't remember what it was. It's something to do. I don't remember what it was exactly. So
Was he wearing makeup on the leather face? Was there
yeah,
makeup?
I think so. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, and the other thing that was kind of interesting, the way the character is written, was how Leatherface had no problems whatsoever. I mean, he's a vicious killer. He could kill anybody he wanted to. When his father comes in, he's like cowering down he was very afraid. It was like, whoa, that's like the exact. He could have killed his father instantly. His father's just telling him what to do. He could have just whacked him out if he wanted to, but his father, like, he still had the respect of his father, or fear of his father. He himself could kill anyone anytime he wanted to. No, it was just. Did you notice that?
Mm-hmm. Now that you're saying it, it makes sense, but I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. So there was another video, and I forgot what it was, that's talked about the psychology of his character. I don't remember what they said exactly, so I can't give any more than that. If you remember anything, you can bring that up too. Maybe we could discuss that. But or OD or anyone else can also mention that too. So let's see, man. One thing I didn't notice the first time, probably because I was scared. There was no gore in the Leatherface scenes. Right, exactly. So,
Mm-hmm.
so all right. So the this is Sally and Franklin are going. They're the only two left at this point, calling out. Um, oh yeah, then Leatherface comes out and he starts chasing after them, and that's when Franklin gets it. And yeah, you don't really see anything. It's the camera angle. obviously you know what's happening, but obviously you don't see it. So uh the that Sally goes inside. Now I'm surprised they just didn't kill her. I mean, obviously Leatherface was trying to kill her, but if it gets to the point where it's like, they killed everyone else, why did they leave her alive towards the end? I guess because the plot needed her to be alive, because otherwise the movie would be over at that point. So they needed something to, to make sure that somehow someone survived, I guess. I don't know.
That's what I was thinking when she made it to the back to the gas station. I was like, "Why isn't he just killing her? Why is he letting her live?" And that's what I thought too. I was like, "Well, if she goes, then the movie's over." So it just has to have something to keep it going.
And I will say this scene right here where he's cutting into the door. I was like, why are you cutting into your own door? That's stupid. And I will say that, give him credit with this, because the father comes back and says, look what he did. Look what he did to this door. Did you see
I know,
that?
and then he says, "Don't you have any pride in your home?" or something like that. I was like hysterical.
Yeah. So she goes in here, she sees the old man. Now the old man looks like he's wearing a mask. It's like someone wearing a mask. So the makeup I wouldn't is not really that good. What do you think? If
I
you
thought they were dead. I thought it was dead. I didn't even realize that he was like alive.
Hmm.
So that actually shocked me.
That's a good point. I think you're right. When I saw it for the first time, I think I think it's been a while, so I'm pretty sure I thought the same thing. But since I saw it
Hmm.
recently, I completely forgot about that part of it. Yeah, you're right. Um, but then when he moves around, the makeup just doesn't look that good. But I'm not going to fault them for it, because the movie is, a low budget movie to begin with, so it's not that, can't really say anything. So, but
Hmm.
yeah, it was creepy when it turns out he's actually alive later on. You're right. I completely forgot about that. I thought the same thing. So, like I said, that was 85 when I saw it. So,
Hmm.
uh,
No,
so
I was tricked. I was completely tricked. So when he came to life, I was like, "What is happening?" That was a shock.
here's the gas station scene. She's back there. Um, the that's when they bag her up and tie her up and put her in and take her back, and then we see that the hitchhiker is now actually part of the family as well. So we know that's the three of them, technically four with the grandfather, and they bring her inside. They tie her up. Uh, the let's see. Oh yeah, this is where we learned that the grandfather is alive. Uh, this is where they cut the finger, and the finger looks real. The prick looks real. That is. Uh, and the screen. Oh, the one of the trivia things I found about this movie was that this was made during a very everything in this movie, night and day, it was extremely hot, very very hot. So everyone was all hot and smelly and
Mm.
sweaty. So, and being inside a house like this, there was no air conditioning either. So everything was so hot. The apparently they were so hot that by the time it was done, that's the woman that plays Sally here. This, I don't know if this is real. Maybe it is. The final scene, this because this was fought. It was actually shot in sequential order. The final scene where she's driving away in the pickup truck, she was screaming because she was just couldn't take the heat anymore. I don't know if that's
Oh,
true,
wow.
but it's funny
That's
if it's true.
interesting.
Yeah. But yeah, they said that this is very, very, very hot. Even like all these scenes were so hot. So, um, yeah, see, this is where was anything really too significant here, except they're mocking her and
Oh, there was that those close-ups of her eyeballs.
yes,
Did
thank
you
you.
see, like, that shot was I'm sorry, did I take were you gonna say something about that?
I was just going to mention it, but no, you're spot on. Go ahead. No, you're fine.
Yeah, the shots of, like, her eyeballs really close was creepy. I was like, was that something too that was ever copied in other films?
It's a
Do you
good
know?
question. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe someone in the comments could let us know. So, but yeah, that was yeah. So she could see the veins in her eyes too, the little red veins. So,
Mhm.
so yeah. And the thing is, when they did the close-ups, and then they go over to the three of them or four of them, and then they walk over, and then they weren't really showing her face, just her eyes. So, which was really
Mhm.
interesting. So, there we go. The so they try to kill her. Now, when I saw this the first time, I don't think I thought this scene was. Some of these scenes just seemed to be a little weird, but watching it now, I think it's pretty interesting because it comes across as more realistic because it has this gritty feel to it. Um, so I kind of like it because of that, because it's kind of realistic feel to the whole thing. So, um, and it depends on, maybe not everyone would feel the same way, but having seen so many different, like, not necessarily gory videos in real life, but just videos in general, when you watch people recording things, you realize real life doesn't look as pretty as the movies make it look. This is just this. It's like they captured something that's really happening, is what I'm leading up to. So
Yeah, it was like granular.
yeah.
Is
So
that like an accurate word? A good word?
I
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Sorry. You have to. You said granular. I'm not sure what that word means. Granular.
Yeah. Now I'm like, I should look it up, but I feel like it just means that it was like organic,
Oh, okay.
like
Oh, okay.
like you're saying.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's good. Yeah, I agree with that. The so she's able to escape as they come out. She's running away. What was the hitchhiker's name? Just the hitchhiker? I forget his name. Yeah, just hitchhiker. I'm looking at the list.
Oh,
Yeah, it just says hitchhiker in the credits. So
okay.
he chases after her. The truck comes along. He gets flattened. The truck driver is trying to help her. This was a little weird because then Leatherface comes up and starts to grind against the truck, and I'm like, why does he just drive away? The
That's what
truck,
I thought. I was like, why is he getting out of the huge truck that could crush this guy?
yeah, yeah, and just drive away. It's there was nothing wrong with the truck. The cut up the door is not going to do anything. It's so I mean, it's a minor plot hole, I guess. I don't know because so they both run away, run out. The guy that's driving the truck, he runs off, so we don't see what happens to him. Then another truck comes along and picks her up, and the truck stalls, which builds up the tension. So
Hmm.
the guy's driving the truck, so she's able to get in the back, and Leatherface is coming after her, and you hear the guy trying to start the truck up, and it's like it's not starting, and then finally it starts up, and then he drives away. And then we just see a little dance routine with Leatherface. That's the end of the movie. So that's it. Let's see. Oh, wait a minute. OD says the scene at the dinner around the table is repeated in the sequels as well. Oh, that's right. I've only seen one sequel as two. Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. I haven't seen it for a long time, but if I remember correctly, yeah, that's so haven't seen any of the others. Um, so that was it. So basically, you say you're not really a big fan of this movie, is that right?
I wouldn't recommend it.
Oh, okay. Now you wouldn't recommend it because why exactly? What would explain? What
I
is?
don't know. I guess because I felt like what was like I felt like what's the plot line? Like they all do the thing that you're never supposed to do in a horror movie. They all go into the house. Then they're all chasing after each other.
Hmm.
Like don't do that. But then you have to think too, this is one of the movies that started it.
Right.
So like if you're looking at it from that perspective, then it's great. Then it's like, whoa, it's a totally new concept. So I think I'm jaded because I'm old I'm looking at it from 2022.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
If you look at it from the perspective of 1974, 73, then it's a really great, it's like a new, I don't know, was it like a new concept at that time?
I don't know. I was too young. Wait, for
Mm,
myself, I was way too young, so I couldn't answer that question. I just
yeah.
know by the time I was old enough to understand what horror movies were, I had heard about the movie and eventually I just went ahead and watched it. So,
Hmm.
so I
And
went,
now I feel like after us sitting here and talking about it, I appreciate it so much more.
oh,
Like there are things that you brought up that I didn't catch, so
okay.
I think I appreciate it more now than when we started.
Okay. Yeah. To me, it had a lot of tension, which was, made the movie more interesting to watch. And you're right. There is no, you said no plot. You're right. They just kind of like just go into, and there's no, it's more just a thriller, you know. So do you watch other horror movies? Or we watch The Candyman, obviously. Do they
Hmm.
often have plot? I don't know. I don't,
I don't know. I mean, the Candyman at least had that whole story going on behind it
right.
about, like that they were investigating and like she was writing her dissertation, and then there was the whole story behind him. Like I feel like this didn't really have that other level.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I get you. But basically, what did it as far as like other horror movies in general, though? I mean, don't you didn't you say you like horror movies?
I do, but like Jason, Freddy was like the dream maker. He was
Mhm.
in people's dreams.
Okay. Is there a
I don't know.
plot? Is there? Would you? I've seen one of the Nightmare. I know not the first one. I've seen one of the later ones. I don't remember which one. And I don't remember. I don't remember. It's too long ago. I can't come. I can't comment. So.
Mhm. I guess they're all kind of silly.
Oh. Okay. And I take back. I said I saw the movie in '85. Actually, looking at it now, the I actually this is the second movie, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. This one came out in '86, and I remember watching it with my sister, and it must have been '87. That's not it really matters, I guess, but it was after because it couldn't have been '85 because obviously I watched this one at the same time I watched the first one. So, and I think we
Mm.
rented both of them from a video rental store at the time. So, so it's like I said, not a big deal. 2 years does not make a big difference, but I just like correct myself on that. So, um, and
Was the second one good?
I don't remember it being that good, but then I watched someone review it recently, and they said that it was supposed to be more like a comedy. It was supposed to be more of a comical look at the first one. So like, if you go in there like don't expect it to be taking it too seriously, then you'll have fun. I remember it was just kind of weird. Basically the characters are there, and it was like one of the things that didn't make any sense is they owned this big property. I was like, how did you guys own a large section of property? Leatherface was there, the father was there, and the old man was there. Obviously, the hitchhiker got killed, but they replaced him with another character who was like him, and they owned this huge property somewhere. And I was like, how can you go from there? You're on the run because the law they said at the in the didn't they say something in the radio in the newscast that they were onto them or something, or I don't know.
Yeah, I think so.
And it's
Mhm.
like, and if they got them in the first movie, I'm thinking to myself, how could they purchase a large property in the second, which was even larger than this was, a huge property, like several acres of land. And anyway, if I realize if you look at it as a comedy, then you don't make it. You shouldn't take it too serious. Dennis Hopper was in the second one. That was what I remember, and he played a law enforcement officer that was trying to go after them. And so, yeah, I don't remember. I haven't seen it since '87, so I can't comment. I'd have to watch it again. I just remember it being kind of silly, and it wasn't as good
Mhm.
as this one for sure, in my opinion. And Dennis Hopper, what I remember, he plays the brother of Franklin and Sally, um, and
Okay.
he's going after the killers of his brother. Sally was not in the second one at all. So, and so it's Dennis Hopper's going after. It's like a revenge thing of sorts. So.
Mhm.
Oh, what am I saying? I say, as you and Amanda, I have to say, I would really love if you can continue to talk about these horror villain movies in next episodes. Okay. And the only thing I liked about the second movie was the Scream Queen. I don't remember that. Sorry. I've seen it, but it was so long ago. I don't remember the Scream Queen. So, um, yeah, it was. I remember what I remember. I don't want to dwell too much on it, but I do remember they had this huge property and it had this like underground caverns. I was like, all I kept on saying to myself, how the heck are they getting all this?
Mhm.
How are they? It just didn't make it was so silly. The first movie, you're like, okay, they were able to live in seclusion in the middle of a rural area that no one knew where they were, so they were able to build this house with and kill people and get away with it. The second one, they're on the run and they're able to buy a property, and it was all this. It didn't, it was like, no, this doesn't. This is silly, nonsensical. So anyway, so now that I know it's supposed to be a comedy, maybe I knew it back then too. I don't know. Who knows? So, but no, it definitely not. Did not. What I remember, it did not live up to the first one for sure. So. Um, so
Okay,
as far
thank
as
you. Good to know.
yeah, and as far as any of the other movies, I never saw any of the other movies at all. So anything after that was, I know they remade it a few times, one or two times, I don't remember. I never saw anything new. Was it the most recent one listed here is a whole bunch of them here. I guess the most recent one, Leatherface, I guess. I don't know. Whatever it was, 2017. So I've not seen any of these. I cannot comment on any of these. So I don't know. So. But as far as movies, I would say I would definitely recommend this. It's for people who are into horror movies. I know a lot of other people would too, but like I said, I'm not a horror movie fan to begin with, so I don't know. I can't compare it to too many others since I have hardly seen any others. And I
Mhm.
agree. Like compared it to the Candyman, at least that had a more structured plot of sorts. So this one does, yeah, it definitely does not seem. It's just they go in there, they have to deal with the situation and get out, and they so, all but one of them dies. So yeah, there is not much of a, you're right, there's no plot there. So if you can overlook that, I guess and you're looking for something to just have, looking for a horror movie, it's something that's very suspenseful, then you might like it. So
Mhm.
if I were to give it a rating, I'd just have to say maybe I don't know, maybe like 8 out of 10 maybe. So
Okay. I was thinking like a 7.
oh, okay.
Oh.
Okay.
Mhm.
Did OD and I influence you?
Yes.
Okay.
You did.
Okay.
Mm.
Uh, let's see. Odie says the ending scene of the second movie is with the Scream Queen holding the saw, screaming and spinning just like the Leatherface in the first movie. Oh, really? Okay. I completely forgot that. So thank you. So alrighty. So yeah. Anything else? And we can go check our question out. If anything else you would like to say about this before we look at our question.
No, I think I hit everything.
Cool. All
Mm.
right. So let's look at our question. Got a pretty decent response so far. 141 votes. Let me just double check, see if that's gone up at all. 142 votes. Pepperoni, 69%. Cheese with 15%. 6% tie with vegetables and sausage, and 5% with your own choice. Okay. And put these in order. Pineapple. Oh, yeah, I've heard that. Yeah, have you ever put pineapple on your pizza? I've heard people do that.
No, I heard people do that too. That's like, what is that, Hawaiian?
I,
Hawaiian pizza?
I think so. It's funny because in
Mhm.
the video game Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, which is the video that I have most on my channel, there's one of the
Mhm.
pedestrians that walks on the street will randomly just walk by and said, in Hawaii they put pineapple on their pizzas or something like that. So COD pizza with cheese, but the Brazilian style, if you have a huge amount of cheese, cream cheese, cheddar chicken, a lot of cheese, cheddar there. Okay, chicken, bacon, Parmesan and Doritos.
Mm.
That's interesting. If you come to Brazil one day, you should definitely give it a try. You will love it. Okay, sounds interesting. I usually try anything. So
Mhm.
Miguel Guerrero says pizza with, was that word?
I don't know. Champiñones?
Yeah, and it's got saliva.
I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is.
Interesting. So let's see. 1 second here. Yeah, let me get rid of my magnifying glass and see. I'm bringing it up real quick. I'm just curious. I got to see what this is. Let me see. Um, there we go. Oh, it's like mushrooms. Yes.
Oh, yum, I love mushrooms. Okay.
Oh yeah. I have my mushrooms on there. I wouldn't go out of my way for them, but yeah, they're okay. They're fine on pizza. Yeah. So the only thing I don't like on pizza, what is that? Can't remember what I don't. What I don't like is the thick crust. I don't like thick crust. I like thinner crust on my pizzas.
Mhm. I do too. So you don't like deep dish, Chicago pizza, right? You don't like that?
Is that a thick crust? Yeah, I wouldn't like it. No.
Mhm.
Yeah. So yeah,
Mhm.
it's yeah. I like. I don't know which company would advertise thicker crust. I was like, why would I want thicker crust? I want more of the meat and the cheese and all that stuff. And sometimes the vegetables can be a little overboard. So I don't. I don't mind a little bit of vegetables. When they go overboard on that stuff, that kind of turns me off a little. So uh, just a
I
little.
feel like they don't put enough vegetables on top.
Oh,
I'm like,
really?
pile on the vegetables.
Yeah, I would say pepperoni for sure. Sausage is good. Um, oh, I know I know you. There's no way you could possibly would know this, but when I was a kid, teenager, I grew up in a town, a little city called Fairfax, which is just outside of DC. And there was a historic part of Fairfax, and there was a little restaurant called Have a Bite Eatery. And when I haven't been there in years, I think it's still there. But I remember they had in my opinion at the time, the best pizza ever in my life. And I've always wondered if I'd like to go back there someday, see if they're there and try their pizza again. Of course, it's so long, who knows? But if for some reason I just remember it being the best pizza I ever had. I don't remember what the toppings were, but I'd like to go back there someday. So
Do you think it's because you were a kid that it was the best? Like, or you think it's just that it was the best? That's why you
um,
wanna go back, right?
I think it was actually the best. Well, of course, memory. Who knows how good memory is, and maybe I've had something better since then that I don't know. But I was a teenager at the time, and I just remember we went there. My family went there, and I was like, "Wow, this is awesome!" And then I was at the high school I was at. They somebody ordered out pizza for whatever reason, and they brought it to the school. I was like, "Oh, it's Have a Bite Eatery," and I got excited. So, but yeah, it wouldn't be not for nostalgia purposes, but definitely for the taste. I think that's what you're
Mhm.
asking, right? Is that what you mean?
Yep. Mhm.
So, and then again, I mean, who knows if it's still there? It's going to be a different person, obviously making it. It's probably not going to be the same people because that was so long ago. So it might not even taste the same. But I'd still like to try it nonetheless. So,
Mhm.
and let's see. OD with one more comment says, "I wish Leatherface was in GTA San Andreas. I spent a lot of time searching for him in the woods." Thank you. There's a lot of mythical myths in in the video game that people believe. For a long time there was a myth that Bigfoot was in the game, and it was just a myth that was started. There was no Bigfoot in the game, but when they came with Grand Theft Auto 5, they actually put Bigfoot in the game, I guess, to follow up on that. So
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
yeah. So it was one of those things where they kind of teased you at like they said, you'll find Bigfoot. It wasn't real. And it was just to make people go searching for things that didn't exist. It was kind of silly to do that. But then, like I said, when the newer game came out, they actually put it in there. So,
That's cool.
alrighty. So anything else you'd like to say before we wrap everything up?
No, I just wanna thank you and OD for changing my mind and helping me to feel a little bit more excited about, Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Okay. And if you don't like it, I'd rather you obviously I'd rather you be as honest as possible. So I don't want you to feel obligated to just because I like something for you to like it too. I'd rather if you don't like it, it's fine. It's perfectly fine. So as long as you
No,
like it,
no, I said that I really didn't like it and I wouldn't recommend it to anybody, but I have more of an appreciation for it now after talking to you about it than I did
gotcha.
before. But
Oh,
I still wouldn't recommend it to anybody.
oh, okay.
Just being honest.
And yeah, it's for next week. We'll come back. Uh did you um did you have any ideas what you'd like to do? Sometimes OD likes to know ahead of time. Did you have any ideas what you'd like to talk about next week?
Oh, no, I didn't know. Do you have any ideas? Put me
Did
on the
you
spot there.
did you want to talk about your was it meditation?
Yeah, sure. Did you want to we can talk about meditation, absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, we can do a show about meditation then. So for next week. And we'll have a different and we can discuss go back and forth on that because I'm not I wouldn't know that's your specialty. I don't know that. So we could discuss that and bring up different things and open the obviously answer any questions anyone has. So cool.
Mhm.
Alrighty. And Odie, one more thing. I see. You always knew he wasn't in the game. I didn't know when I first started playing. I just remember reading it. He's talking about Bigfoot being in the game. I don't. First started playing the game. I remember reading about it, but I just went on there, and there was a lot of people said he wasn't in the game, so I just didn't really worry about it. It was just one of those things that I just read about, and just didn't really worry about. It's just one of those. There was so many things in the game at the time, I just didn't worry about it. So. Alrighty. Thanks, everybody. And if you'd like to support what we're doing, we have the NordVPN link in the description below. If you purchase that, they can help fund what we're doing. And we'll see you guys next week.